Hi everyone, local band here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Cheekface album, Too Much to Ask. This is the third full-length LP of California band Cheekface, one of my most favorite new finds over the past couple of weeks. Now, again, this is their third LP, so obviously they've been at it for a minute now, but visiting their older projects, it's not like there's really a night and day difference in terms of sound and style here. It's kind of like Cheekface came to us fully formed already. If there's any notable differences on this new LP, it's that the band's performances are getting tighter, and the array of influences going into their stuff is getting wider, from lo-fi indie rock to power pop, dance punk, post-punk, a spritz of pop punk as well, topped with vocals that range from exuberant shouts, amateurish cleans, and some very witty spoken word passages. If I had to boil the band's music down, I would say their appeal lies mostly in very simple but sharp rock instrumentation, which they pull off with a lot of energy, as well as profoundly absurd and clever song ideas. Like the track We Need a Bigger Dumpster, which is all about how situationally things can snowball so quickly, and how easily people can adjust to the insanity and just sort of sweep a problem under the rug. With descriptions of lighting a match, throwing it in the trash, putting the trash in a dumpster, it's starting a fire, then needing a bigger dumpster to contain the dumpster fire. Everything is fine, everything is fine. Something pretty much like the COVID pandemic is described in a similar way in the same track. And this is just the song's hook. On the verses, they're packed with restless lyrics that add to the track's sense of hopelessness. Hopeless, but somehow the music comes across more bubbly and sweet than you would expect. There's also Featured Singer, which is a hilarious and groovy bit of commentary about becoming the featured singer on an EDM song, the kind that is hated by DJs, danced to on TikTok, and apparently Spin Magazine and I refuse to review it. It kind of sounds like LCD Sound System, but somehow more tongue-in-cheek. I Feel So Weird describes a growing sense of dread around everything feeling so odd. The vocal harmonies and close whispers of weird on the chorus feel like I'm having voices call to me in my head. Descriptions of one's head, guts, and heart being filled with barking dogs is also a little off-putting. And while in one breath the lyrics give a peek into the feeling of going insane, there are also thoughts penned into this thing that seem like pretty everyday thoughts in the mind of anybody who's struggling in our modern day hellhole. I could get so much work done if I didn't have to sleep anymore. Hard to acknowledge something that's obvious when it's really obvious, and while I'm feeling good, I'm sure this at some point will pass. I also love how the track kicks off with a very funny Das Racist reference. I'm at the Jamba Juice, I'm at the therapist, I'm at the combination Jamba Juice and therapist, which I need to Google map the location of later. And of course, when Cheekface attempts a love song, it's going to be ridiculous, but enjoyably so. Of course, I'm talking about the track Next to Me, where we get these strained refrains of I liked it better when you were standing next to me. And between these hooks are the types of lyrical images I would expect more from a Weird Al song. Talking about digging through their trash and hollering yo outside of their building at night and being dubbed yo guy as a result of that. Cops are called. There's a point where his heart has a headache and he's throwing up flowers. It's humorous, but not corny or lazy in the way that some comedy music tends to be, as it still works as a very fun DIY pop rock track. And we go from insane devotion to a complete lack thereof on the song Friends, which is really about a friendship that is hanging on by a thread, or really not much of a friendship at all, talking about the various ways in which this friendship is dysfunctional and how this other person is sort of unlikable. In that sense, it's a perfect parting ways song, and Cheekface doing this track kind of reminded me that there's really not enough of these, at least in a funny and amicable way. But societal commentary and focused lyrics are not always this record's bag. Some moments on this LP revel in pure absurdity, whether that be in the series of bars on Pledge Drive about a super grain native to Peru that is, I guess, ruining the environment. One of many funny but strange lyrical detours across this track. The song Election Day has a similar vibe to it, with one of the sweetest chord progressions across the entire record, which really fits the acoustic direction of the instrumental. On this track, Dr. Bronner is called out as not being a real doctor. If that's the case, how's that soap so good? Noodles is a quick and chaotic interlude about a giant cup of noodles. Even though part of me does want more from this track, especially in terms of length, I do admire it for being able to add levity to an already pretty silly album. Meanwhile, You Always Want to Bomb the Middle East is not only insanely catchy, but has one of the strangest character portraits I've heard on any record this year. Seems like the point on this one is to make as little sense as possible, at least on the surface. I would say the ending of this LP is just as strong as the start. The closing track, Vegan Water, with its starry synths and driving dance beats, as well as refrains of I Can Do No Wrong, is a pretty groovy and blissful way to end things. The lyrics fit the bill in a very clever way, though, talking about being so relevant or careless and influential that you basically have no accountability. Your friends aren't real, so you can do no wrong. You're a corporatist stage monkey, so you can do no wrong. Overall, I'd say I enjoyed this record a lot. In fact, I loved most of it. Whole thing is a little scant, a little short of breath. The brevity of some of these tracks does leave me wanting a bit more here and there. Some of the mixes on these cuts are a little too rough around the edges as well. But still, overall, I think Cheekface is killing it here. Handily one of the best rock records I've heard in 2022, and no doubt you will feel the same if you're looking for something kind of fun, silly, a little cheeky, a little self-aware as well. Feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Cheekface, forever.